Hello and welcome to Last Week in Finance. Today is October 25 of 2020. Let's get to the numbers. The S&P 500 relatively flat this week. It was slightly down 0.53%. Right now the S&P 500 is at 3,465 points. Gold stagnated, relatively flat this week, slightly up 0.13%. Right now, an ounce of gold is in the $1,902. Silver went up considerably this week, 1.82%. Right now, the ounce of silver is at $24.60. The DXY, the US dollar index, went down 1%. Right now sits at 92.75 points. The big mover this week was Bitcoin. Went up 15%. Right now a Bitcoin is at $13,129. Okay, the US election is coming, and I just wanted to discuss, is really Donald Trump a good president? I mean, within the economy. And it's kind of a gray area. In this podcast, I'm not gonna talk about, the things, no political, no controversies. Let's just get to the numbers. And we are gonna disestimate the COVID 19 effects. I mean, that's not Trump's fault, of course. Okay, let's start with the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate during the Trump first term administration at his lowest point was at 3.5%. This is in February of 2020, just right before COVID-19 hit the US. But now Trump, when he took care of office, inauguration day of 2017, the unemployment rate was already at 4.7%. I mean, if you're gonna say that Trump is an economic genius because the unemployment was low, and actually at 3.5%, that's a 50-year low in the US. Obama, I mean, let's compare peaches with peaches. Obama, when he took office in '09, the unemployment rate was at 8.3%. And when he left the house, 8 years later, was 4.7. So obviously, Trump just continued a tendency that it was going on during the Obama's administration. So, I mean, it's kind of a. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I don't love Trump. I don't hate Trump. Neither Obama. But it's just a tendency that was coming of Obama's administration. So let's call it a push. GDP numbers. During Donald Trump's first administration and just before COVID, Trump's GDP growth was 13%. When he took office, the US GDP in 2017 was $19 trillion. And just before COVID, the US GDP was $21.75 trillion. Of course, it stagnated and went down, crashing down after that, after COVID. But I mean, I'm talking about just before COVID. 13% of GDP in 3 years, almost four. Okay. Good numbers. Obama took took possession at '09. The US GDP back then, remember, that was right after the great financial crisis. He took office and US GDP was at 14 trillion. He left 8 years later at 19 trillion. So 34% increase during the 8 years of Obama administration. Okay, the best thing, I mean, from an economic standpoint, was the tax bill of 2017, late 2017, in Trump's first year at office. He proposed a tax bill that reduced the income tax of companies, a corporate income tax, from 35% to 21%. That was, it should be lower, but I mean, it was a great thing to do. You are making more competitive the US industries. So companies, US companies, instead of taking their operations, their tax residence offshore, is more likely the US to be competitive to retain these companies without imposing tariff. We are gonna talk about it. Don't worry about it. And let's just get right to it. Tariff. That's where Trump dropped the ball. Before I start, if you're listening to this and you became president or prime minister of a company or a country, whatever, I'm gonna say this: tariffs are stupid. Tariffs are stupid. Remember that. Okay, why tariffs are stupid? Because it's a self-imposed tax. I mean, taxes are bad, regardless. And a tariff is a self-imposed tax. And not only that, countries around the world that are getting imposed tariffs still gonna impose tariffs on you. Simple as that. Okay, so let's go with the tariff resume of President Donald Trump. He started on January 18. Solar panels went 30% to 50% tariff. Steel on March 18, 25% steel, 10% aluminum. Then in June 18, he extended the tariff to the European Union, Canada, and Mexico. Remember, Canada and Mexico have a trade agreement where they treat themselves as it was a sole country, basically. And in June 18, the big hallmark started trade war with China, and what happened right after in the summer of 2018? Other countries start retaliation tariffs. India, China, Canada, Brazil, South Korea. At May 2018, Canada and Mexico were exempted. Argentina and Australia were exempted of the tariffs. At May 19, it was this is the more stupid of the tariffs. Trump tariff 5% to all Mexico US imports. And then it's gonna escalate it to 5% more each month until Mexico stop migrant migration. Okay, a quick cap here on Mexican migration. You know that since a few years ago, there is more Mexicans leaving the U.S. that actually going to migrate to the U.S. I mean, Mexicans are leaving. They prefer to live in their own country instead of the U.S. And the people who are going is very poor people from Central America, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, and Nicaragua. Okay, and that Mexico doesn't have control of that. Okay, they speak to the Mexican president, Lopez Obrador, and they cannot get a deal. Okay, that's stupid. You don't use economy to control migration. Okay, then we can keep up with these numbers, and the Journal of Economic Perspectives said the tariffs cost $1.4 billion per month in cost of opportunity to the economy and $3.2 billion per month to the households in households consumer goods. So things get more expensive and the economy slightly stagnated just because of tariffs. Stupid, but what? The trade deficit went up almost $120 billion to the total of $621 billion. So nice job, Tom. In January of 2020, just before COVID, Trump said that every imported good will be 16.8% tariff on all imported goods. Okay, and that ended very well. Well, at the end, let's compare Obama and Trump. When Obama took office, the US trade deficit was almost 400 billion. That was on 2009. And he left the White House with a trade deficit of $518 billion. So 100 in 8 years, 100 increase of trade deficit. Right now, with Trump, is at 620 billion, and it's gonna go up this year, of course. Okay, let's talk about the deficit, the budget deficit. When Obama took office, 2009, the budget deficit was $1.4 trillion. Remember, that was due to the economy, that was due to the great financial crisis. Then, when he was about to leave in 2016, the deficit was only $580 billion. So it was less than a trillion during the mostly in all the years during the Obama administration. Then when Trump took office, his first budget was around 665 billion. I'm sorry, 665 billion. And this year, remember, of course, the starting budget, the starting budget deficit. I'm sorry, it was 3.13 trillion US dollars. Trillion with a T. And right now, the deficit at late October is at $4.26 trillion. So a trillion and change more. Okay, last but not least, the stock market. The stock market during the Obama's administration, the S&P 500 when he took office in '09 was $849. 849 points, I'm sorry. When he left office in 2017, the S&P 500 is at 2,267 points. That was increased during the 8 years of Obama of 167%. I mean, of course, you can argue that Obama took office with a crisis, and most of those gains were a dead cat pounds. And it's arguably that, but I mean, the trend continued. The the economic recovery was slow but steady in the U.S. And I'm not a Democrat. I'm no pro Obama, but talking to the macro numbers, he did a good job on that. Not a great job, a good job. Obama, I'm sorry, Donald Trump took office in 2017. The market was The S&P 500 was at 2,269 points. And then in 2020, I mean, no, this is right now, the last close of the week. The market is at 3,465 points. That's an increase of 53%, over 1,000 points per 4 year span almost. Which is, of course, we know the market is overinflated, low interest rates. Actually, Obama, and that's why Obama, you see those results with Obama, he had zero interest rate, Fed fund interest rates. And Trump has enjoyed very low interest rates. At the end, Obama was a good president. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Honestly, I don't think so. The tax bill probably is a no. It was a really good move for the U.S. economy, but after that, the tariffs are stupid. I know that you wanna. I know that you wanna reduce the trade deficit. The trade deficit, and the thing is that with all this stupid tariff, the trade deficit increase. You don't reduce a trade deficit by putting tariff. You reduce it by making your companies, the companies that do stuff, that produce stuff, not BS of Silicon Valley, real consumer goods. You have to make it more competitive, not just fucking with China. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, do you think Trump was a good president? Please, I don't know. I'll like to hear your comments on that. Well, that will be all for this week. Take care. Bye bye.